There we go. All right. Thanks for joining the second month of Momentum Call for the Northern Strength Collective. I got my notes from, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of housekeeping stuff, but you guys are joining. Rachel's gonna join here. Sweet. First, quick shout out just to the new members, Sarah, Nelson, and Mark. Mark, how do you say your last name?
Good job.
Goodrow. Okay, there we go. That's actually simple.
Not too
Yeah,
bad.
happy to have both you guys here. Good to see some of the workouts already happening. I want to give a quick hey, just a couple things I want to shout out and notice that you guys are uh, doing that are just I'm really impressed by. And right now, that might kind of cover almost everyone in the group. That might hopefully, ideally, that eventually we're growing to say maybe two, three shout outs per call, and then not everyone's going to get mentioned every time. It's not a bad thing. It's just kind of how it goes. But right now, it's a tight enough group we can mention everyone in one way or another. Hi, Rachel. Um, so just actually that's the first one I had down. John and Rachel, you guys are husband and wife. You had a couple workouts recently. I saw both of you guys clocking in before 5:45 a.m. and done. And I'm like, that's just way to be a part of the 5 a.m. club. I know it's a necessity because of the three little kids in the house. So three little kids, both of you guys doing it. My wife and I do that. That is hard. It's not easy. So way to go for you guys just to do that. I know there's days where one of you's dealing with the kids and one's working out and you're adjusting the schedule around. Uh, Jordan, you're not on this call, but Jordan, just for some creative ways of working out the last few weeks, planning things, getting it done before you go to work, splitting it up, etc. Just your commitment to getting it done is really impressive. And then Amanda as well for looking forward to this last week's workout. After a weekend missing them, even though your legs were pummeled, you were like, oh, you commented said I was excited to do it. I was looking forward to this. Like that's cool that you're excited to do it again come Monday or Tuesday. So that was cool to hear. And Mark, your legs are crushed, and that's shout out to you for jumping in after grandma's half marathon. Hope that went really well.
Yeah, could have gone better.
Any particular way that was the case?
No, I struggled. I didn't train very much at all, and my
Okay,
wife trained a lot, so
okay,
a little bit of a struggle bus for me. But that's why I'm hopping back on the wagon, and
good.
we'll get it next time.
Do you guys run together, separate paces? Like how do you guys do that?
Yeah, last year we ran it together. We ran like a 2:08, which we were pretty happy with. And this
Yeah.
year, my wife's training a lot more because she's doing the New York full in the
Okay.
fall. And so I was like, I haven't been training at all. It's been a little crazy with work and everything. And so I just hopped in this one, and I didn't finish. I hopped out at mile 6. I was trying
Oh
to keep
man.
up there, and didn't happen. The kids in the family were there at mile 6, and I hopped out.
Oh,
So yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a valiant effort.
that's right.
Yeah.
Seriously. For not having trained, I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
that's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. You know, a lot of it honestly was probably mental because I look back and like I don't feel like my legs were necessarily shot and I don't feel like my lungs were completely shot. And I think it was just a complete mental thing. By mile 4, I was like, I'm ready to be done with this
Oh
thing.
man. Yeah.
So,
You see the fan at
uh,
mile 6. That makes sense. Yeah. I would just encourage just chalk it up as a learning experience and don't chalk it up as the F word of failure. Not that at all. Just in your mind, categorize it and you learn and
I,
you
I
move on.
hurts a little bit, but we'll get over
I know,
it.
I get that. We all have egos and we should. It's good to compete with ourselves. Um, so last couple kind of housekeeping things here. I'm at the beginning here. This is all new, so there's a lot of learning that's going to happen on my end and you guys' end. So feedback is really valuable. So two things about that. One is next week I'll be dropping a feedback form, and I'll kind of be live at any time. But I might just occasionally remind you, hey, here's a form, here's a quick survey, Google Forms. You can fill out some information about the group at any time you want to say, just, hey, here's some feedback on us, some thoughts. So you have a way for me to read it. You can submit it anonymously. I don't think I'll be able to see your Gmail associated with it or anything. And then I'll probably be dropping in periodically reminding you guys, hey, there's a form for feedback. I think I'll be able to post it in a file section in the group where you guys can always access it, but I'll make sure that's the case, or I'll just bump the link every now and then. So feedback is really important. And don't be afraid to be I'll say critical or offer constructive feedback too. I want to hear that. Hi, John. Um, and then the other thing was just want to remind you guys that I dropped that free month link in. So if you refer anybody and they join, you guys get a free month. You can split that with your friend. You can also just bank that up. And I don't currently have a limit on that. So, if you want to try to go for 12 friends and they'll join and you get a whole year free, there you go. So that's another thing to remind you guys on the housekeeping side of things. I'm going to jump right into questions here. So Jordan dropped a really good question on form, technique, asking how to make sure you're doing things correctly. Um, is that a common question? You guys would say?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have like questions on some of that, but I mean, I know you had coached me a lot during our workout sessions on that, but like some
Mhm.
of that knowledge is just helpful to be refreshed on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I've thought of that. It's a really uh, it's a it's a high value of mine and one of the challenges of delivering online and what I as far as like I can't work. I'm not working out with any of you guys. I also don't work out a lot of my clients in person or anyways, like once they're online or once they leave the gym. They're still got to be confident that once they go do the workouts on their own. Um, the so the simplest way I was thinking about doing this was um, there's a couple options, but um, simplest way I was thinking about doing this was to do something called like a form feedback Friday, where you guys could upload a quick like 10 to 30-second video of the movement you're doing into the group chat if you're comfortable sharing that with the group. And then I would send you like a DM separately. Now I know the messaging right now for you guys is set up in like one way only, but you can still read what I say. That's so like that would be I can send you a message on that via the messenger in the app. The other thing um, would be that other people in the group could say, "Hey, I found it helpful." Like they could also comment that. I don't want this to be just, "Oh, Kurt's the coach; he knows what he's doing." You guys might see something. Oh, I think that if you like push your leg back further, and this, it might help you. Or I think about doing it this way. Like, uh, yeah, I don't just because I am the coach doesn't mean you guys can't offer feedback to each other as well. And I want you guys to feel free to do that, especially because I might not get to that. And if it's uploaded on Friday, I'll try to get back to it by end of day Friday. But like you can do that at any time too. It doesn't just, I mean, it's more of a reminder that, hey, Fridays, drop this in here. You can upload a video quick. Also, if you did that on a Monday, I would not be like upset. Like, hey, guys, I was doing the clean this morning or doing the deadlift and just want to make sure like I was doing it right. And that'd be okay to do as well. Does that sound like anything be helpful?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great
think
idea.
just upload a video of yourself
Yep.
doing it.
Yep. Yeah. When doing these online, the best, so the other two options I'll say as well. Like the best option is always like, can you get a sideways or slightly facing forward, a sideways kind of video of yourself, like of doing the movement? And that'll be a really good way to tell, like usually whole body, like head to toe, head to, if you're going overhead with something, head to, or foot to overhead shoulder position. Usually the best way to like, okay, what just yeah, get a video of it. Even you watching yourself, you can watch yourself once you've done that and look at the video of the movement and say, oh, wait, I think I need to do this. But the disconnect could still be I don't know how to now do that. I see the difference, but how do I do that? And that's where some of the feedback can come in helpful. Like, hey, maybe someone has an idea for how to, rotate your hips this way or, you know, work on your, put more balance in your heel. I'm just using random things that that's kind of the self that'd be in a self evaluation camp. I want to sort of say like you could take a vid if you could find a YouTube video that you trust. Now this is if you want to search it yourself. I could also send you a YouTube video that I think is really good, and then like you could try to film yourself at the same angle as that one, so they'll get them side by side. You could like look at that and say, oh, how am I compared to this person? That's the like kind of next level of self-evaluation. If you shoot 10 to 30 seconds of a video and drop in the chat, that's gonna be faster. And if you don't want to do that, I'll also probably like have a like maybe a a Google Drive or Photos link I can drop in there too. Like, hey, upload it here, and I know you don't want everyone to see it. That's fine. But if you want a couple of me seeing it, I can also offer feedback the same way. That's my thoughts on the form feedback. Just kind of have a recurring theme of like, you can do that. You can drop this up, or sorry, upload this and get some feedback on it within like hopefully 24 hours or so.
That's a great idea. Something else that I do, and like it doesn't, I mean, it's not like doesn't necessarily correct the form, is I have like a just a wall hanging mirror
Oh
that
yeah,
I have set up in our workout area.
yeah,
So like if I think I'm not doing a movement well, or like I'm like, oh, how am I, what does this look like when I'm
yep,
actually doing that? Um, I like that's helpful to like
yeah,
correct some of those things, like maybe in my workout, or just say like, okay, no, I'm doing this right, or I feel like
hmm
I'm doing this,
yeah,
correctly. So even just getting like a cheap, and in mine's like a $10 mirror from Target. So
yeah, yeah,
that's
yep,
helpful.
yeah,
Um, just as a suggestion as well.
yeah. That's a great idea. Um, and don't be afraid to slow something down to get it right. So even if a day says, "Oh, do it for time," or even your time crunch, if you know there's a movement that you're a little suspicious on, try to. Life doesn't always happen, so try to give yourself some time to work on that, try it out. Or if you can't do that, but you know something like, well, I need to drop. That's a reminder myself. But get a sheet or a yeah, I think a sheet would be the easiest way to do it. Like, of just like, here's all your movement substitution options. Just like, here's when you see, I've been giving a comment, maybe you see a pull up in there. I'm not assuming everyone can do pull ups. If not anyone can do pull ups. What do you do instead? Do you have straps? Do you have ring rows? Do you have dumbbell rows, etc.? Um, but the whole list of that, hey, here's the muscle being targeted. Here's the alternative movements that would kind of fit in the same camp. Um, so oh, I don't have time that one would take too much technique and focus right now. I could actually work on, I don't have time to today. I'm going to do this one instead. I know I can do well. Next time this movement pops up, I can work with more time on it, hopefully. Um, so no, life does not always, what's I I forget, like the phrase of like, you make your plan and it's gonna, I always expect contact from the enemy with your plan. There's always gonna make a great plan while something's gonna still interrupt it, right? That's just reality. Um, so any other questions on form or feedback or ideas?
No, I'm just surprised the three kids all up already this morning. That's pretty
Yeah.
brutal. That's an early morning.
Yeah. My wife is outside right now working out, and I was like, bring the monitor with because if any of them wake up, I'm on a call. I can't go get them. Like,
Yeah.
thankfully the range reaches.
That's pretty good. If it reaches out. Yeah, ours
Yeah,
does not have much range. It's tough. You gotta stick pretty close to the house.
yeah, yep, yep. There's been a day or two where we've been like running and we try to like alternate our short runs, like they're like 200s or 400s, like that. I'm like, okay, don't like I gotta leave when you come back, so in case the monitor beeps and the kid doesn't come out of the bedroom, like start crying, like where's mommy and daddy?
Yeah.
So yes, we do leave our kids in there a little bit. Um, Mark, you had the equipment question. This is I could talk equipment for a full call if we want to, but I'm not going to. But what just rephrase that? Remind me what that is. I have some ideas, but
Yeah, so I have a power blocks fit up to 50-pound power blocks. That's
yeah,
essentially what I have. I know we got like heavy lift days and everything, so I'm
yeah,
like debating should I get they have like adder packs where I can go up to 70 pounds and even then up to 90
hmm
um, on those. And then I don't know if we're going to be doing more kettlebell work or like rings or a pull-up bar is worth
yeah,
investing in. Just trying to figure out like, should I make an investment to try to get the most? I'll probably be doing the flex program
yep.
most of
Dumbbells.
the time.
Yep, yep,
So just kind of curious your thoughts there. And I don't know, I'm not trying to go too crazy or anything, but
yeah,
your thoughts there on equipment, most bang for your
yeah,
buck kind of thing.
yeah. I see the most people are doing the flex option too. Just kind of like the breakdown would be load is full gym available. And I still want to be like, okay, I'm not assuming even full gym available. It probably just means you have access to a barbell. That's probably the most unique thing on there. barbell pull-up bars, kettlebell set. So that'd be that or a few kettlebells. That'd be like the most in-depth that's probably gonna go. I'm not gonna have like do a sled push. And that's a very unique movement. It's not bad. It's awesome, but I mean, I have an amazing gym set, but I don't have a sled. I don't want to push
Right.
a sled on concrete and asphalt. That just sounds terrible for my ears. It's like then the flex category would be like assuming you probably have at least few sets of dumbbells. That'd be kind of like the that's so some sort of free weight. I think there's also a assumption you might have a pull-up bar, you might have like a kettlebell or two, maybe. I still try to give options, just assuming, hey, all you have is sets of dumbbells, and that could be adjustables, like you have, Mark, the power blocks, where they're all kind of in one. Could be a few different. I think I I know Amanda and Weber's there. You guys have just a bunch of individual dumbbells, which is also really nice to have the space for, and that could be someone's a little more comfortable in the power blocks. Um, so, and the move category is just, hey, you got planet Earth and your body weight. Like, what can you do? And as I've been writing those, I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to do some of these. So those don't like those are. We always want to give a scaled option to suggest, but how do you adjust this move, enter into it gently. But yeah, on the equipment side of things, like the other pilots at the 50s, I'd say if you wanted to, and I don't think so. We have the heavy discount. Like I would say until you can, like, um, I'll try to write those with like assuming for cutoff point for men and women assumption, uh, that the max end you have is like 50 pounds, and assuming like even if you grab a set of even if you're really ferociously strong and you could do everything in there with the 50s, that the way the workout was written, you would still be pretty hit pretty hard by those 50s. And so that's it for a guy. For a female side of things, even if like now, I'm assuming I know a lot of these women are getting so strong that deadlifting the 50s is very possible, and it should be. I think that's an awesome. But also, some of the like overhead upper body movements might be the ones you're not going to quite get that 50 as fast on. And so I'm assuming that like up to 35s is kind of like where you'd be using that for your upper body movements at the high end, and that's an assumption. That's a looking at the spectrum of strength available to both men and women. What kind of weight fits really well as like a oh yeah, pick that up, and even if you like you do few sets of Bulgarian split squats, you do a few sets of front squats, you do a few sets of lunges with whatever weight you had to pick the same way for all those, it'll add up. You know, like it's heavy might not be like lift the absolute heaviest you possibly can eventually. Like let's just say you can get to lifting those 50s for your front squats. Okay, then or those 35s. My internet stable here. It says it's unstable.
You're good.
Okay, thank you. Um, the work like I've two things. One, I'll try to write the workouts where like you do enough, for lack of a better word, just enough volume at the higher weight that like that it will be a very sufficient heavy day without being, oh, I absolutely maxed out my 5 reps with my dumbbells today. You might do 10 to 12 reps, and that's a lot of reps, and you'll you'll have the stairs will be really fun the next day. Assuming the squatting example again. But I would the other side of that too. Okay, let's just say you can do the movement with 2 legs or 2 arms. Can you now start doing with one leg or one arm too? So it's like just because you can squat the heaviest weight you have with both dumbbells on your shoulders or deadlift it off the floor, could you now start working on getting to be able to lift that same set of dumbbells or working right up to that same set of dumbbells on one leg, like a single leg deadlift or a single leg like squat like a Bulgarian or lunge? Could you do those now for the lower body, that works really well because you can kind of just switch to one leg. Upper body, usually you can press it for 2 or row it for 2, etc. You can probably usually do the same thing for 1, if not even more. That's where the heavy gets to turn around a little bit. But I would say as a generalization, you can get a long ways with like up to 50s. And the heavy day will probably written in a way where like it'll be plenty of there'll be space for you to do two things. You can either try to like work your way up to the really heavy weight on these things and get as high as you can, or it'll be like you're doing squats and lunges and split squats in the same workout and maybe single leg deadlifts. That's plenty of leg volume to make it a heavy. I want to say volume, but like it's the legs will have plenty of stimulus from that workout without having to like, oh, I now can like I need 60s. Trust me, you don't want to put 60s on your shoulders or 70s on your shoulders or 40s or 50s, depending on who you are, and get to that point. If you can, you're a freak of a human being in the best of ways, and and you should be, the world should be afraid of you. Walking around with that kind of strength ability, and that'd be quite awesome. But I mean, I have up to 75s in my garage, and I rarely touch those dumbbells when it's like a dumbbell day, dumbbell only day. That's like heavier bench pressing if I want to do that, if you have that option. So that like for that's a long answer. Say up to 50s and 35s. 50s can be a really. I'm trying to write in that kind of framework. You can always get more. I'm not going to tell you not to get more if you want to. If you want to say, oh gosh, I really want to press more weight, make this fun. If that's fun to you, get more. I would say it'd be if you have the opportunity to like add a pull-up bar to that mix somewhere in your house, garage, wherever you're working out, and you can get a band or some rings attached to that, that would be a really nice additional investment. And I would say that goes for a lot of like people. It's not if you're handy at all, creative at all, you can kind of usually scrap together some pipes and 2x6s and flanges and make a pull-up bar from Home Depot. Um, the rings, and that's maybe 50 bucks. And then the rings, or you can buy one. There's tons of ones online you can buy and actually mount somewhere too. They're all stable. And then the rings are usually about 35 to 55 bucks too for rings. I think those have so much use. And also, if you don't have kids yet, all good. If you do have kids, the kids love hanging, swinging on rings. So I have a set right here, and the kids are on them like almost every day, playing on them, swinging back and forth, twisting around, spinning. I mean, they just think it's a toy, and so and they have a ton of fun with it. So it's not just for you, and they're not just for gymnasts doing the iron cross, because you can always scale your rows as low or high as you can go. So that kind of answered the question, or is that helpful? That was a long answer.
Yeah, no, definitely helpful.
Any like what other thoughts or questions you guys have on equipment, or like fleshing that out?
Something, Mark, that I invested in is it might not work with like the block kettlebell set that you or dumbbell set that you have, but you can buy an attachment to like add to dumbbells for your kettlebell swings and stuff.
Yeah, the
I
kettle
bought
grip.
one. Yeah, kettle grip. I bought one online, and it is. I love it. I just use it with my dumbbell set, and it's really great for like the kettlebell swing and things like that. So
Yeah,
something to check out potentially.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Good note. Yeah, I've seen those. I wasn't sure how they worked. I don't think they'd probably fit with my dumbbells.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
Yeah, go
keep
around.
that in the back of your back pocket for
yep.
later.
No, and that's a
For
good suggestion if someone's got normal hex dumbbells of some sort, like just whether they're iron or they're rubber hex head, that'll probably work on either one.
yeah.
So that's a great idea, Fresh. I know you did that. That's a good call. And those are like 20 to 35 bucks. They're not, once you get into this world and you realize you're making this investment in your fitness, like that's a pretty low end of what you could spend for a piece of equipment to add to your space
Yeah,
versus the higher end.
yeah,
Um, that's a great one. And I will say if you want to just get a fixed kettlebell, um, like you want to add that, I think that's a great thing to add. I don't think people need to get sets of them. I think people need to get, you know, dozens of them. I have those. This is me. This is my job. This is what I can fund the equipment with the revenue from the business. So it's a nice little perk. But like I'd say the recommendation there is I'd say like a good starting point if you have a decent amount of strength and all you guys do would be like a 35 pounder for women, 50, 53 if you're getting metric there for men would be a good like kettlebell to start with. Might sound heavy, might not. Those are pretty kind of standard weights. You can always go lower than that too, like a 25 or a 45 or something like that too, as well. Um, and you can go higher. I think a lot of the women here have the potential to swing 50 pounds, and the guys have potential to get up to 70 pounds. Like that's might sound insane, but I think that's very doable. If you, doable, and I will probably keep those into the load and the flex options. Won't be in the move, and usually give a suggestion of what you could do instead, whether it's a deadlift, or clean, something using the hips that's explosive would be the right movement to sub in there. But yeah, you don't need to get more than 1 to 2 and just kind of pick it up and use it in those when that pops up. Like, oh, maybe a slightly lighter to medium heavy one, and then a slightly medium to heavier one would be the kind of and that's gonna depend on what your current strength level is. But I do love them. I will probably keep programming them in the workouts, and long term, we're all, nobody's over the age of 50, 60, 70 in here. Long term, having the ability to explosively use your hips in a swing like that is such a good long term movement pattern to develop hip power, endurance, and strength kind of all at once without having your feet having to jump. So like you can actually, to have quick reflexes in your lower body as you age is really, really valuable. And
He's
stability
doing it like
provides.
a kettlebell swing. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I have a guy who's almost 70 who does them. And I'm like, oh, this is his muscle fibers can respond quickly to this movement. That's a good thing to be doing as an individual client. But um, every time I'm watching him, I'm thinking my brain's just like, oh, that's so cool. He's doing these at that age. Like that's great because how many of the residents in his community that he lives in like are doing that, and probably almost none. So is that preventing a future fall from happening? I have no idea, but it gets more imperative the older we get. So we're at 6 o'clock. We can move toward wrapping up the call here, and I did a lot of talking. But I also will say, like, if you guys have any other questions, drop them right now. It's fine to jump on and share them or feedback. I can take it. So take it, the 10 to 15 seconds for that here.
I was just gonna say, do you have a protein bar that you recommend, or like what's your go-to?
Mm.
Yeah, if you're gonna grab a protein bar, like what's your go-to?
It's a good question. Um, I might have to do a little more research on that. Historically, I've gone to like the Quest and Pure Protein options. The thing I'm aware of, more aware of now than ever before. Actually, I'll drop it. Does anyone else have one that they like? They
I don't
tried.
typically do bars. I usually will do a shaker bottle with a protein shake.
Yep.
So I've been doing that with a little bit of like the dried peanut butter.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yep.
PB2.
Um, yeah, but I don't do bars here.
Okay. Um, yeah, I like that option. Like far like protein supplements go, a powder is always the fastest, both like to get into something. Usually it's cheaper per like serving too, and that's there's a lot of options depending on what you might need to avoid or like you're conscious of and care about in your nutrition as well. So it's great options. I would just always look for a complete amino acid profile on that. Like if you got pea protein, for instance, you couldn't do whey. Pea protein is not a complete amino acid protein in itself, which is very basically protein from an animal source will always be all the amino acids you need from protein. Protein from like a vegetable source will need to usually have a few different vegetables involved to get to a complete amino acid profile. It's fine, very doable. Don't, I would, Someone told me they wanted to, oh, they were vegan or vegetarian, that's how they need to eat. That's totally fine by me. Just know what you need to be combining to make sure you're getting all the amino acids from the protein. That's what protein, we eat protein for. As far as the bar goes, yeah, I'd say the ones I've looked at, Amanda, would be or like tried in the past would be Quest and Pure Protein. I'm like moving in the direction of like trying to get like just back to the source of it though. That's why I've been like moving more towards like meat sticks and jerky with limited sugar. And so I've always felt a little gassy or bloated after having protein bars or like digestively not quite the same. And I'm like, I'm aware of like, does this thing I just ate give me more energy and kind of sustain what I already have, or does it feel like it's kind of like doing a little bit to take away from it afterwards? Is the way I kind of evaluate what I eat and take in, and like this is not a promotion. The chomps, and some other like sticks seem to be really, really good. They are less protein per dollar spent. I get that, but those tend to be really that and like meat sticks where just the list is just spices and some celery, salt or salt celery, something to keep it cured. Those tend to not leave me feeling as depleted. So, it's minor. Like a bar, I definitely have bars too. So,
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, like, if you're kind of looking for that on the go, because it may not be a bad idea to do like if you're working at home or whatever, or doing like a protein shake or having like a shaker bottle and you just put the powder in there, just have it in your bag and then just add water to it later on and shake it wherever you are kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like prep your shaker bottle with it in
Hmm.
there already if you're like on the go. But then, like Kirk said, I think a lot of times I'll just grab like a beef stick or something like that, have a protein shake at home, maybe after a workout, and then bring a beef stick with me if I'm kind of out and about to get that additional protein or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good
Another,
idea.
another option is like beef jerky, like if you have
Hmm.
a local meat place or whatever. I was looking at kind of the difference between the sticks and beef jerky, and beef jerky is actually supposed to be really good for you. And a lot of times, very few ingredients, right? Not a
Yep.
lot of adders or fillers or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
it's basically straight meat and spices.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing you gotta check is learn to read your nutrition label because you're right. It should just be meat and spice, but sometimes there's a lot of sugar added to even original jerky. Like, why does originally that much sugar? Like, you could just I've made it before. It's in the butt process, but I've made it before. And it's like I'd put a little bit of brown sugar or honey or something in there and mix it all up and marinated it. And then it was like it wasn't that much. It wasn't as much as you see on those other labels. So watch that, but you're right. It's usually a little cheaper than the sticks, and it's as long as the ingredients should be very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's very
Checking
helpful.
ingredients is good.
Yeah,
It's more probably like the Jack Links and stuff. You want to
yep,
stay away from those guys because it's all just flavor based and they're just adding fat and
hmm
flavor and whatever they
hmm
can do, right?
yeah, yeah. It's a simple process. You thin slice meat, you marinate it, and you dehydrate it. I mean, simple. Should be simple. So that's a good question. I'd be happy to riff a lot more nutrition things too. There's a lot of opportunity here to get more resources compiled here, recommendations as time goes on. Only so much time to compile it. So like, if I hear a question, like, okay, it's going on a list to get to at some point. Not and it will eventually be a living, breathing resource in the group. But yeah, definitely feel free to pop those questions like nutrition anytime. That's fine. Let the group be a resource to one another because Mark pretty much said the same thing I did. So it's like we know we do a lot of these things. We can kind of affirm that you're on the right track too. So
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
I'm gonna say we'll stop here, stop the recording.